afternoon, and welcome to another episode of the RK Leadership Podcast, where we empower tomorrow's leaders through the sharing of knowledge, experience, and inspiring stories. I'm your host, Rob Cameronpour, and my very special guest today is Kellina Powell. Kellina lost 100% of her hearing at the age of 4. Today, she's a 4-time best-selling author, the founder of Kellina's Empowerment Inc., a globally recognized keynote speaker, and one of Canada's top 100 Black women to watch in 2025. She's built a platform known publicly as Deaf Queen Boss that empowers deaf and disabled young adults to embrace their identity, prioritize mental health, and lead in spaces that are not designed for them. Thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate you.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Awesome. Are you ready to go?
I'm ready.
Excellent. So, Kellina, welcome. Before we get anything else, you built a platform, written 4 best-selling books, and named to Canada's top 100 Black women to watch in 2025. When you look at where you are right now, what does it actually feel like?
I don't know what to say. Honestly, I felt like I was nervous when I started the journey because I was 21 years old when I started the journey, and I didn't think people would take me serious. I didn't think I was going to be here, to be honest, but now it's like really a rewarding experience because I know a lot of time, young people were starting a business. You don't know if people are going to take you serious. So for me, it's like, who's going to take me serious? So, and also being deaf and hard of hearing, I wasn't sure if I was going to become successful in what I'm doing now. So it's very rewarding experience so far.
Amazing. So what is the greatest lesson that you've learned to date?
There's so many lessons I learned. Let's just say I learned a lot. I think hiring the right mentor and coach. I feel like a lot of time we don't really invest in ourselves a lot.
Yes.
And for me, I didn't really understand how important it is to pour in yourself. And so that's something I learned along the way. But I loved it. Investing in myself was something I learned. And also another great piece of advice I got from everybody was that make sure you're always networking. Because believe me, when I tell everybody, is that I get nervous and I really get anxiety when I talk to people just because being hard of hearing, it's not always easy to get yourself out there and network. And so for me, I was like, how do I get myself out there? How do I feel confident in myself to talk to people randomly? And so, so that was one of the advice I got. To continue networking, you'll build your confidence over time.
That's right. So I want to go back to you mentioning mentorship and coaching. Mm-hmm. How do you find a right mentor, and what do you look for in a mentor?
So, good question. To be honest, I didn't know what I would do when I first started. I was like, what's the coach? What's the mentor? And so a friend of mine, she actually reached out to me and she said, she's my mentor actually till this day, Chandel. Thank you. So I reached out to her a couple of times to have a conversation. Yeah. And, I was telling her, I'm looking for a mentor, I'm looking for a coach, like who can I reach out to? And so she was one of my mentors, she offered. And so I see how she does her business, I see how she networks with people, and I was like, oh wow, okay, I really have to get on that game like the way she does. Mm-hmm. And then I decided to look for a coach to help me build my business. I actually searched up on Instagram actually, when Instagram was started blowing up. And then I just type in, coaches for businesses or like young adult business coach. And so I saw one of the coach, and then I did, invest in myself, into her and myself. I was young, so I spent like over 5K, I think. I think it's a lot of money, but I'm like, oh. And at the time, I was working 3 jobs, and I was going to university at York, so I just had to like hustle a lot. So that's how I find a mentor. And then honestly, what I look for in a coach and a mentor is someone who can hold me accountable, someone who can be honest with me, like, hey, Kellina, you shouldn't take this route. You should take that route. I know a lot of time coaches and mentor, they sugarcoat.
That's right.
And it's like, why are you sugarcoating if someone's looking to help, for help? So it's like, okay. So yeah, that's the main one thing for me. Being honest, show up for me, hold me accountable. And also too, like, don't be afraid to call out my name. Like, don't be afraid to call me out.
That's right. Call out the BS.
Exactly.
That's right.
Yeah.
Amazing. So again, you talked about networking, the importance of networking. I know for the younger generation, there's a lot of opportunities to go out there and network today. But as we've seen throughout COVID, people are afraid to get out and go out to network and meet new people. So how do you deal? What's your advice to the younger generation when they want to go out to network? They're shy. They don't know how to start a conversation per se with a stranger.
Yeah.
How do you overcome that?
To be honest, everybody, I don't know.
How do you do it?
Yeah, honestly, so when I first started networking, I tell myself I'm only networking with 5 people. That's how I look at it. You start small. Don't go big. Don't be like, okay, I need to network with 10 people and oh my God, I'm going to be overwhelmed. And no, start small. Network with 2 people. Network with 3 people, 4 or 5. But don't go over 5 for your first time networking. And then over time, I started to grow my number. So this one networking event, 5. The second one, 10 people. The next one, 20. So it grows as you go on networking events. So and take your time when you're talking to people. It's a nerve-wracking, believe me. Especially someone like myself who's hard of hearing. I was so nervous. I was like, can I hear them? Like, I'm always having this thought in my head, right? And so I was like, you know what? I'm here for a reason. I know I deserve to be in this room. And always remind yourself that you deserve to be in this room, no matter where you go. And, just think to yourself and say, you know what, I can do this, I can do this. It's all about mindset, right? When you go into networking, like, okay, I got this. I can talk to 3 people, I can talk to 4 people. So, yeah, that's my advice.
Amazing. So, again, you mentioned mindset, so I have to ask you this question. How do you build a strong mindset?
Reading books. I love reading books about mindset. And because also, too, my background is in psychology, so I have a psychology degree. So I love studying the brain. For those who don't know, I always wanted to be a neurosurgeon. So I always get A+ in neuroscience class at York. And so I always love learning about how human behavior, like it's weird. I don't know why. I just love it. and I don't know, touch me. I'm crazy like that. And so I know. Like, it's like, so I love studying human psychology. And then when I started picking the right books, because I know a lot of us have different preferences when it comes to books, I always read entrepreneur books. So like people who are entrepreneurs themselves, I read their books and to actually learn about their story and how they overcome so many things in their life. And so if you know someone that you really look up to, I'm telling you, they 100% have a book, go grab the book and read about their life. Because you will learn so much through somebody through a book.
That's right. No, I couldn't agree with you more. So out of all the books that you've written, with respect to entrepreneurs, what are some of the trends that you've seen that they've done in order to overcome certain things and, again, build their mindset?
I would say take risks. Like, don't be afraid to take that risk. That's the number one thing I noticed when I read every single books. And number 2 is you cannot listen to other people's opinion. And that's the biggest thing that we all struggle with sometimes when we listen to the outside noise. You know what you're good at, believe in it. And the third thing I noticed with 2 is that they honestly go out there. They are nervous themselves.
Yeah.
They all started from 0. And so are you. So there's no difference. And never judge someone chapter 20 and judge your chapter 1.
That's right. Yeah. Amazing. Awesome. I know I can definitely tell you that it, at first it's always scary, but that's how you grow is you make yourself uncomfortable. Put yourself in an uncomfortable situation. So, Kellina, you're known publicly as a Deaf Queen boss. That's a chosen name, not a given one. Tell me about the moment you decided that's who you're going to be.
Trying COVID again. So when I told myself I wanted to get myself out there, and my little sister, I love my little sister, my family. I love you guys. And so my little sister came up with a great idea. She said, you need to have a personal branding where someone can call you something, has a short name. And I said, okay, what can I call myself? So she said, look online. So that's what I did. I looked on Instagram, seeing who are the deaf content creators was. I looked them up. And then so I see their names and how they were naming themselves. And I'm like, I think I can call myself Deaf Queen. But I didn't know what else could I call myself? So my sister came in and she's like, okay, grab a piece of paper. We wrote so many names on the paper. We put Deb Queen Boss, we put Boss Queen Deb, and then we put like so many names. And I'm like, I don't like this, I don't like this, I don't like this. And I'm like, wait, I like Deb Queen Boss. That suits me and it's perfect. And I just knew that that's the name I want to be called, like moving forward on social media. And then, yeah, so that's how, thanks to my sister. So her and I literally write it. Yeah.
She should be your coach.
Yeah. Literally.
So what did the queen part mean to you when you picked it?
It was honestly, queen for me personally means that owning yourself, owning yourself, owning your own crown. And that's something I learned too when I was growing up, is that you have to love yourself.
Yeah.
Right? And, whether you have a disability or not, or any challenges that you face in life, it doesn't mean that you cannot be a king or queen.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So take me back to that little girl. You were 4 years old when you lost your hearing. What do you remember, not the medical part, but what changed in your world?
When I went to two schools, so when I went to the deaf school in the morning and I went to the hearing school in the afternoon, that honestly changed my role. Honestly, I learned how to communicate in two different communities. So I did learn sign language, but then when I was in hearing school, I couldn't continue my sign language. And that was something I learned, was like, whoa. So I'm a girl in two different worlds, trying to navigate, because I didn't know what was happening, because you're 4. How you tell a 4-year-old what's going on? I don't know.
Yes.
And so I had to figure it out. And my family was always supporting me and always helping me to understand my world. Even though there's nobody in my family that is deaf. Nobody is. I'm the only one. So they took their time to understand my community and the hearing community. So it was really nice. So, and also, it's very cool. I feel like I got lucky to be able to explore different community. Not everybody can, but I did. And, growing up, it's like, oh, wow, I can communicate so many ways. And I think that's why I love studying psychology, because I was put in two different communities at the age of 4. So I had to learn body language so quickly. Yes. I had to read lips. And then I was like, oh my God, okay. So, yeah.
So, Kellina, what's your advice to the younger folks who might be going through this disability or any disability?
Yeah.
And, there's times where you get down on yourself because you seem like you're different than the rest of the world. How do you deal with that, and what would your advice be to them?
Shout out to my family again. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here. They're the one that actually was my rock star. They were my line. They were my backbone to everything.
Nice.
Not everybody had the support like I did. And my advice to those who don't have that support like I did is that, one, find your community, join Facebook groups, join your hobbies, community in your local, right? You don't have to do anything super crazy, like, oh my God, I have to pay so much money. No. Like, if you know that there's a community center by your home, see if you can participate and see if you can build your friends from there. And also, number 3, keep yourself busy. Keep yourself busy. If you know, like, say, for example, you love hiking, look for a group that has hiking for free. You can be part of it. You can meet new friends from there.
That's right.
So that's my advice for everybody. Yeah.
Awesome. So you talked about also self-love.
Yeah.
So what is the recipe to start loving yourself again when you're going through certain struggles in life? And it could be anything for that matter. I think that's something a lot of people struggle with in general. How do you start to love yourself, and how do you become aware of all that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell somebody how to love themselves.
Yes.
For me, like, honestly, it's such a hard question, because it's like, I just come and go for me, because it's like, everybody helped me, and then I'm like, wow, okay, you're helping me to love myself, right?
Yes.
And it's all about the support system. But again, it's like, how much are you willing to take it in, and how much are you going to pour in yourself? And so for me, I would say is that always know who you are and always be honest with yourself. And this is something I actually started doing when I was like 18 years old. I started journaling. I started journal every day. And I feel like a lot of times people dismiss this part, and I'm like, why? And then people are like, oh, I don't want to write my feelings down. And I was like, but you have to.
Yeah.
Like, how are you going to know yourself?
That's right.
right? And like they always say, whatever you write down on a piece of paper is the most powerful thing ever. And so when I tell even my client too, you need to write things down. That's the only way your brain can process everything so quickly.
Absolutely.
And so, and when I started journaling, I realized like, whoa, I had so much going on in my mind that I didn't even know when I would write in paper. And then what I did was I started crossing off the things that I did not want to pour in myself.
Yeah.
And I just like, I'm not going to talk to myself like that. Crossed it out.
Mm.
And that's what I did to learn how to love myself. And I was like, wow, I need to be honest with myself. And that's something a lot of people struggle with.
That's right.
How can I be honest with myself to move forward in life? Because if you can't be honest with yourself, then how are you going to move forward?
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing I noticed that with people. And also number 2 is like, do something that you love. I feel like we're so busy on, go, go, go all the time. We don't think about ourselves in order to find something that we love. The more you do things that you love, the more you're going to love yourself.
Exactly. So what is it that you love?
I love spending time with my family.
Good.
And my friends. I love traveling.
Let's see that.
Yeah, so traveling is my everything. I think those are the top 3 things I love, And also I love going to a spa. I love spa so much to keep me relaxed. So, yeah.
It's not a bad life to have.
Yeah, it is.
So I got to ask you this question, Kellina. You grew up as a Black deaf girl in Canada. 3 identities, each which the world handles differently. Which one of these? Which one did you have to work hardest to navigate through?
I think in general in life, I had to work so hard every day. It wasn't just one thing; it's everything. And same thing with going to school was hard because I had teachers in a hand school that didn't know how to accommodate me, and it was very hard being a deaf Black woman because they're looking at you like, okay, well, she double layered, right? I need more support. I need more help.
Yeah.
And it's like school was difficult for me. I would stay 100%. And also employment, finding jobs. When I was 16, I had to look for a job, and I was like, oh, I didn't know how to advocate for myself in employment because I was nervous. And it's always hard, no matter where you go in life. So
amazing.
Thanks.
And you got through it all.
I did.
And look at you now. Kudos to you. I think again, to me, you're a great role model for not only girls out there, but for a lot of people out there. So again, that's amazing what you're doing.
Thank you.
You said in one of your interviews that you spend years navigating spaces that weren't built for you. What does that actually look like day to day for someone who can't relate?
So, not everybody can relate to my story because I'm deaf. I'm hard of hearing. No. So I would say for me, yes, I had to build space and I had to learn how to not fit in, but learn how to communicate with different people.
Mm-hmm.
And it was hard because there's no one out there that taught me how to get into different rooms at that time. So I had to learn for myself, like, okay, how do I talk to this person who I have no idea? And so for me, today life is very busy, and it's hard to be consistently reading people's lips. Yeah. So a lot of people don't understand. A lot of time, people who are hard of hearing or who are deaf, we tend to read lips a lot. And so it can be frustrating sometimes when someone have like, I don't know, had a mustache or someone who has an accent. And I'm like, oh, I can't read. So it's like, I can't read your lips. And there's times where I'm like, oh my God, okay, I got it. So I had to calm myself down so I could navigate different spaces.
Yeah.
When I can not be in the space. But yeah, it's difficult. But I got it though.
That's right. So can you give us an example from school or early work that still sits with you?
So I will tell everybody your story, so be ready. So this actually a very, it's not a sad story, but it empowered me to be bigger for myself. So I actually had a guiding counselor, and she didn't believe in my dream. So I told her I wanted to become a doctor. And so, she looked at me and said, like, you should do something different. So I'm like, but I want to be a doctor. And so I asked her a question, like, oh, why would you shut me down like that, you know? And so she said, no, like, you're hard of hearing, like, you cannot become a doctor. And so she told me to do something else. And I was like, I'm not doing that. And so when grade 12 came, she forgot to put my grades in for post-secondary. So, like, I was crying like crazy. I was like, I called my mom, I called my grandma, like, what am I going to do? Like, I don't know. So then my grandmother laughed. So I'm like, why are you laughing? I'm crying, okay? And she's like, I'm laughing at her because she knew you could do it. There will be people out there that's going to put things on you that you don't realize. And I was like, what do you mean? And then so when I got into, I think my last year, grade 12, I got a letter from York University saying, hey, we will accept you, but we need to put you into the following year. And I'm like, okay, great. So I thought to myself what my grandma was trying to say is, she was like, yeah, I told you. There's always going to be someone that's going to take your empowerment.
Yes.
There's always going to be that one person that's going to do that to you, whether you like it or not. But you have to keep moving forward.
That's right.
And that's what my grandmother taught me, and that's what the guidance counselor taught me. There will always going to be someone that's going to have an opinion about things, what you want to do, but you cannot listen to the outside noise.
That's right.
And that's what my grandma taught me, and I was like, oh my God, my grandma was right. So, yes, what she did was bad, but at least she taught me that I can still become successful, whether I have a disability or not.
That's right. So take me back to the moment that this person told you that, you can't get into your dream career. So I've been through that myself, and this is where I can relate to you. Did that actually burn a fire underneath you to want it more because somebody said that to you?
Yeah, it did. It really did. I pulled up my stock because I took an extra year, and I'm like, you know what, I'm going to take an extra year, go back to high school, and prove her wrong. And I did. Yeah, I did. And it's true because a lot of time people don't realize that, yes, you're proving other people's wrong, but you're also proving yourself that you are capable of doing things.
That's right. I was just going to ask you that. I was going to say, were you actually proving her wrong or proving yourself right?
No, I proved myself that I could do it.
There you go.
Exactly.
Amazing. So, Kellina, you speak to organizations about building inclusive workplaces. And let's be honest, most companies say the right things. But what's the gap between the public statement and the daily reality?
So, I hope I don't get in trouble.
You won't.
I feel like a lot of time with companies, I get it. Reputation is everything for them, right? So they want to make sure they look perfect. They do this, they do that. And so a lot of time people close things behind doors because they don't want to ruin the reputation, especially the company reputation. Mm-hmm. And I understand that. I run 2 companies now. I completely understand that. And it's like, oh, this is why they keep things inside, because they don't want to ruin the reputation.
Yes.
And it honestly is sad that a lot of people are suffering, and sometimes companies don't look at people hard. They just look at the money, they look at the reputation, they just look at how good they look on social media sometimes. And it's like, whoa, like, this is all you care about?
Yeah.
And sometimes companies, they don't think that you need these people to run your company.
Exactly.
You need to put these people first.
Yeah.
How are your company going to run if you don't take care of anybody else's health? And that's why a lot of people are now quitting jobs and just start their own thing now. And which I love that. I'm like, yeah, go ahead, do your thing. Like, at the end of the day, your health comes first. And that's why a lot of people are struggling to find jobs, because they realize it's not the right fit. Why am I going to put myself in an environment where I'm going to be bullied?
Yes, exactly. So what's your advice to these organizations, or let's say a startup, a company that's just starting up and they need to go through this process? What's your advice to them?
Training. So when you do the orientation and training with people, please let them know what your missions are, what your goal is, what's your value, right? I feel like a lot of time companies just say the big words and people are like, okay, I guess we're doing something good here. But no, be honest with the employee. Just say, hey, I need this and that. Are you able to do that?
Yeah.
Right? Even when people are on probation, talk to them while they're on probation. Get to know them while they're on probation, because that way you both can understand, okay, do we align or do we not align? Instead of wasting people's time.
That's right.
Even for me, when I had my 9 to 5, I will never forget this. I used to work at FedEx. I love FedEx, love it. So during my orientation time, I remember the company, the boss and the manager, they all came together with me on the table. I was like, it wasn't just me, it was the other people. And they're like, this is what we expect, this is what da-da-da-da-da-da. And I was like, oh, wow, okay, you guys do not play.
That's right.
And it's like, because that way you can understand the company better, right? And I feel like with orientation, it helps the individual what to expect.
That's right. Clear expectations.
Exactly. And I feel like a lot of time people just, everybody needs money. Everybody needs to do whatever. But at the same time, you had the company, you need to make sure everybody can do their job.
Yes.
In order for your company to run. So that's how it works.
Yeah, your people run the business.
Exactly. You have to have people first then, and especially when you're hiring people, I always tell people, please make sure you do question or even games with them.
Yep.
Like before you hire them, before you talk to them, make them play a game online so you can see their personality.
Interesting. I'll try that.
Yeah, you should do. You should.
So, Kellina, what's the biggest mistake that well-intentioned leaders make?
I guess not having a clear expectation, not understanding what they want for the company itself and for their employees as well. And I wish that sometimes people don't know what they want. You need to know what you want.
That's right.
Right? And I feel like a lot of times people don't understand is that when you have a company, when you're doing things, you need to be clear on what you are looking for. I feel like people just and they just talk. Yeah. And I'm like, that's not clear. What is this talking about? What are you talking about? Okay, but can you please explain? So make sure you go deeper to understand what you are looking for.
Absolutely. So again, you lead an entire community. You coach young adults. You speak globally, and in rooms filled with people. So what does leadership mean to you when you're the only one in the room?
So leadership to me is being able to pour into someone who actually needs it. And leadership to me also means being kind to people. And because if you're not kind to people, how are you supposed to be a leader? Leader always pour into other people first before themselves.
Yes.
But also you need to have a balance. Don't get me wrong. If you don't have a balance, then you're going to burn yourself out. And also leadership to me is being able to be honest. I feel like a lot of times leaders don't really be honest with themselves and be honest with their community.
Yeah.
And I feel like sometimes I meet so many leaders all the time. And they're like, oh, but I can't tell this person this thing. And I'm like, no, they're going to respect you more if you're honest.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm always honest with my community all the time. I'm like, hey, this is what it has to look. This is what it has to look like. That's what it is. Right? And so if you're not honest, how are you going to help the community? Right? And also to always collaborating with people. I love being called the connector. I love connecting people with so many different people to help them to grow their business. I love it. And I love being a connector, honestly. A lot of people always ask me, like, Kellina, thank you so much. You didn't have to connect me with this person. I was like, I mean, I want to.
Yeah.
I want to. So, being a good leader is just trying to help other people. It's not just about you at the end of the day, right? And they always say, when you leverage your network, then your network will leverage you.
That's right. So you've got all these strengths, Kellina. Now, if you're doing any self-reflection, what are one or two areas that you want to improve on as a leader?
As a leader, I wish I wanted to improve on opening more spaces for different communities so that way the community can come together. I know it can be difficult when you are trying to bring a big community together when there's so many different personalities. And I noticed that like a lot of time it's like, this person doesn't work with this person. How do I connect with them? Okay, do I come in the middle or do I let them solve the problem on their own? So sometimes I have to take a step back and let people deal with their own thing. And I'm always known to be somebody stepping in, and I need to learn how to step back and let people solve the problem.
Are you the fixer?
Yeah, kind of. I need to stop.
All right. So, Kellina, you're not just a disability advocate, you're a mental health coach. The combination matters. What's the connection between disability and mental health that most people miss?
A lot of time they miss is that there's not a lot of resources due to a long waiting list. Yes. So it doesn't matter what country you're from. Everywhere, the waiting list is ridiculous. And a lot of time it triggers our mental health because we don't know who we can go to, where can we look for it, knowing that the resources are so limited. And there's not a lot of resources for people with disability, especially professionals who are working in the medical field. Yeah. There's not a lot of us. And it's hard for us to find someone who can actually understand us, especially your family doctor, your dentist. Sometimes they don't understand what we go through because they do not have a disability themselves.
That's right.
Even for me, when I'm my family doctor, he can understand what I'm going through. He cannot. And sometimes I'm back in my head, I'm like, oh my God, I need to find a disability doctor. Like, I want a family doctor that's disabled too, so that they can understand.
Yeah.
So that's something that that slack and a lot of people miss. It's not a lot of reputation. And that's something that a lot of people are not mindful of when they are interacting with someone with disability. Like, you have to be mindful that, we are going through things, but sometimes we're good at hiding it.
That's right.
Right? And a lot of people don't realize that. And so I just wish that people realize that reputation is so small for people with disability.
But what do we need to do as a society to educate people?
Just honestly, just always ask the other person, how can you educate me? I feel like in order for individuals to learn about disability people, they actually have to go out there and actually talk to individuals who actually disabled themselves.
Yes.
Because that's how you learn quick. And you're like, oh, wow, I didn't know that. Like, and for me, like, people come up to me, they're like, Kellina, like, you're hard of hearing, are you deaf? Like, how, and people always ask me questions, and I love that. And so people learn that way. Don't just learn through, I don't know, someone random, right? And I noticed that people just look things up and then they believe something on social media, and I'm like, whoa. Don't listen to everything you see online, okay? That's not true. Just ask the individual that has that type of disability.
But do you also feel that people have a hard time asking questions because they're nervous? They don't know how to ask the question. They might think that you might get offended by the question. And how do you deal with that?
For me personally, I personally don't care when somebody asks me questions. I mean, you can ask me anything, honestly. But yeah, it's true though. I noticed that people who are nervous to ask,
yes,
because they're like, I don't want to intimidate the person, right? And so for me, I always tell people, if you have questions, say this, okay? Say it. I do not want to offend you, but I do have a question. And then go on with your question. And then they're like, okay, yeah, what's your question? So that way I'm aware that you're asking something about my disability, and you actually help me to feel safe by saying, hey, I don't want you to feel intimidated, but this is my question.
Yes, absolutely. Amazing. So Kellina, tell me about a time in your own life when mental health hit a low point and you didn't see it coming. What got you through it?
So take me back when I would say 8 years old, 7 years old. I would lie to my family that I am sick and I don't want to go to school. So I did not realize I was going through that phase of like wanting to be in the dark as a 7-year-old. Like, it's so weird. And I'm like, I was 7 years old. Why did I do that to myself? But it's just something that no one could, not no one could help me, but it's just like, I was struggling for so long when I was young because I was going to the hearing school full time. Because I left the deaf school when I was in grade 3 or grade 4. And then when I went to the hearing school, I was like, I can't communicate with these kids. I'm being bullied so many times. My family was always advocating for me in the school, like, all the time. But, when I was 7, I just lost it. And I was just like, no, I'm not going to school. I'm sick. And I just lied to my parents. I used to hide my hearing aid in my pillow. I swear to God. I used to hide it. And I didn't want to go to school. It was devastating for me. And I was like, I don't want to go to school, Mom. Like, it was hard. And that's when I realized, like, I need to get myself out there. And, my parents, my mom and my grandmother decided to put me in soccer to keep me active. I was in basketball. I was in, I don't know, what am I doing again? I don't know. I was doing so many sports. And I was like, oh my God, why is my parents keep making me so busy? And so, but they actually helped me because by putting me into these activities, knowing that I'm hard of hearing, I don't know how to communicate with these young girls. I was on the girl team. And so I don't know, I guess it worked. I guess my mom knew slowly because my mom is also a social worker too.
Nice.
So she kind of studied me very well. And so when I went to these sports, I realized that my personality shifted. Like, I was able to talk more, I was more confident in myself, interaction with the hearing community. And it was such a good thing because in the end, I was in the rap team, rap, what do you call that? Soccer, professional soccer. Rap?
Rep.
Yeah. So I ended up doing that. And I was like, oh, okay. I got it because my coach was like, she's too good. She needs to go on the rep. And I was
Nice.
like, okay. So I got into it, and then I ended up stopped doing it because I ended up having to travel because I missed school, and then school was a big thing for my family. So they say no more, and I'm like, okay. So so yes.
Are you still back playing soccer today?
No.
No.
I don't know why. I don't know. I just didn't have the time. But I thought about it. Going back to soccer. But then I'm like, nah, I want something better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna invite you to some games.
I like basketball though. So
Okay.
I used to play basketball in high school. So
Nice. So, Kellina, you've got a fourth book on the way focused on entrepreneurs with disabilities. Without spoiling it, what's the message you most want to, like, you want this book to land?
yeah, the one thing I would say is that I just want people to understand no matter what life throws at you, doesn't matter what type of disability you have, you can still become successful, but not every day is going to be a good day. Some days going to be bad days, but you have to tell yourself at the end of the light, there's always going to be a light.
Amazing. And then last question for you.
Okay.
Complete this sentence for me. The world will know we finally built inclusive leadership when?
Oh, I don't know. When what? I gotta think about the word.
You can take your time.
No, that's a good question.
They're all good questions.
I wish I can say more, but when I would say when everybody start to be more open minded.
Amazing. So lastly, where can people find Kellina?
People can find me on Instagram, Deaf Queen Boss, LinkedIn, Kellina Powell, and my website, KellinaEmpowerment.com.
Awesome. Again, I wanted to thank you so much for being here with me today and sharing your knowledge, experience, and inspiring stories with the audience. And look forward to communicating with you more on the future episodes.
Yes, of course. I'm coming back.
Thank you so much. For all those tuning in today, thank you very much for joining another episode of the RK Leadership Podcast. And I look forward to seeing you guys again on the next episode. Take care, everybody.